Hello, my loves, and welcome to this reading. It's good to see you. If you're new here, if you are new here, welcome. A little heads up, my readings are quite unique. They can become a bit of a journey. So, if you like to dive deep, if you want to get through to the core of things, you are in the right place. And I'm happy and looking forward to diving in. All right, let's get started. Right off the bat, I can tell that this is a message that goes into some inner child stuff. I also got something around a mother wound, or what you might call a mother wound. So this is what I've been picking up on already. And right off the bat, I can say that there's something about the inner child aspect that feels like it's not seen or not valued enough, not heard. I felt this immense sense of sadness, and nothing really was working in order to cheer me up. I was trying to do it. I was like giving myself space. I was reading. I did stuff that I like doing. But that feeling just didn't go away until I realized, oh wow, I think that is actually a collective energy, and something that might wants to be addressed in a reading. So I sat down to do that, and as soon as I started tuning in, that sadness disappeared. So what I'm getting from that is like really this feeling of, I just want to be heard. I just want to be recognized and seen. And this, like, okay, what I really need is for you to, not just try to, yes, time to play, time to do all the things that the children like doing, or like that sometimes our inner children need. We as parents, I wanted to say, as parents of our inner children, like as the adults that we are now, it's good to give your inner child space and playtime and all of that. But sometimes that's not enough, right? That's not what really is the matter. And so I've been working a lot over the last few days, so I thought that simply like giving myself some playtime would be enough. But yeah, like I said, it just didn't go away until I realized it's more of a it's not really my energy that is sticking around. It's more of a collective thing, and that there's maybe like more the need to actually listen. Not just I see a kid that like gets toys or food, or like when it's sad or upset, parents would just give it like presents. They would give it something only to like, here, take that, and now please be quiet. Okay, so I also hear something about like, we gave you everything you ever wanted, and like, what more do you need? Like that there's, yes, they gave the child everything it needed in a like material sense, materialistic sense. There was food on the table, there was like, and that can be different for all of you, you know, like some maybe even had like great holidays and vacations and like I said, a lot of toys, a nice home, like anything that money can buy, I hear. And for others that not might have been the case, but like I said, like they were fed and sent to school, but there was something missing, like the emotional availability was missing. All right, let's get a few cards. I can tell that there are some spirit guides present. And they want to okay, so there's someone who's been like wondering like what's up, what's wrong, I don't get it, like where does this come from? Maybe you've been feeling a bit down lately, or sad, or angry, or like feelings that you could like they didn't really make sense to you. And so they are trying to like point you to the core of it, showing you that there doesn't always have to be, like, again, there's this idea about, well, but there has to be a reason why I'm upset right now. And sometimes the reason that we get upset is something that is way down, like way back in the past. There's a reason why I said down. Yeah, deep down in our psyche, like and sometimes like all it takes is just like a tiny trigger, something that we don't even consciously realize or recognize, but our psyche recognizes it. And it triggers a memory, but a memory that is so far back and pushed so deep down that what comes up is the emotion that is associated with that memory. But we as adults don't really make the connection. We don't really understand where this is coming from. Okay. I heard, like, when I was cutting the deck, I heard 1, 2, 3, like counting in a children's game or something like that. Also maybe about something about a TV show. There was, I'm from Germany, like there was this children's TV show where like there was always like a quiz question, and the children had to, and there were like 3 answers, and then the children had to decide where to stand, 1, 2, or 3. And then it was like, there was like always like this one sentence that was said, like something that just sticks to the mind. About like, yeah, if you're standing like in the right place, the light will go on, something like that. Yeah, and it's funny, right? How those like the sentence was, ob du wirklich richtig stehst, siehst du, wenn das Licht angeht. Like it's just stuck in my memory. I didn't even watch that show very often. I wasn't allowed to, because like my parents didn't like that kind of stuff. So I wasn't allowed to do that. Maybe there's something about there were things you would have liked to watch, but you were not allowed to. Oh, I get, like, it's more about the other way around. Like you were kind of sat in front of the TV. It could go both ways. Like for some of you, it was more like, well, you were not allowed to do that. You were not really allowed to watch what you thought was fun. But like if you were allowed to watch TV at all, like your parents would choose the program. or the other way around, your parents didn't care at all and you could just like watch whatever you wanted, or you were sat in front of the TV in order to be quiet. But what I also got with that little sentence is how those things, they just kind of get stuck in our head. And as children, we just like take everything in, and we are like a sponge, and the things, they're just engraved in our minds for the rest of our lives. Okay, so they are making like the distinction, and not the distinction, and the connection to this, how those memories work. Like you learned something as a child, and you just took that in as truth, and it got stuck in your mind, like those sentences, those words, jingles. I hear something about jingles. Oh, it is like a jingle, like those. Okay, yeah, those are belief patterns that we just remember. And every time when something happens that triggers this belief, it just kicks in, and it's like a jingle that is advertising that belief, or like the core that's beneath that. Yeah, so it seems like someone's guides are trying to make you understand how belief systems and like our own belief systems and our beliefs work. It seems like you can't really wrap your mind around, or your head around, the fact that something that is so far gone, like so long gone, that this still has an influence on you. But yeah, it does. That's okay. So they are trying to, with the advertisement. Now I get it. I think now I get it. They want to emphasize, like, look how advertisement works, and how you are basically programmed to associate, for example, a certain jingle that you hear, and you immediately associated with a certain product, or a sound, or some sensation, smell, taste, desires, wants, all of those things, and that works subconsciously. And like the whole advertisement branch is using that. And we know that, they use it to manipulate the buyers, and to basically like program them to behave in a way that they want you to behave, like to buy the products, for example. And so like, okay, the guides are trying like to show you, like, it's not that weird. This is how our subconscious mind works, and we are humans. Like we are from the day we are born, like we are trained to behave in a certain way, and to adopt the belief systems that are advertised to us by our caretakers. All right, so let's see, 1, 2, or 3. Oh, okay. You are asked to pick 1, 2, or 3. Pick one, and then those are 3 different, I'm not sure what, we'll see. But yeah, pause the video for a second and choose 1, 2, or 3. First it comes to mind, don't overthink it. The one you're drawn to the most. Some of you, some of you don't want to choose. they say choose nonetheless. And if you feel like you cannot decide between two, then both can be relevant, but like one will be more relevant and you will know because it's standing out to you more. All right, let's start with number 1. The Hanged One in reverse. Okay, so it seems like you are in a time of suspension right now that feels quite uncomfortable. And with the anchor here in your hand, in the hand of that, in the palm of the hand, there's something about that, like there's something you felt was an anchor for you your entire life. I get very strong family vibes, like that maybe your family has always been an anchor point for you, like your roots. A certain sense, like your loyalty, a sense of loyalty. But it seems like that there's something changing in your perception that maybe what you thought was your anchor is not that beneficial for you anymore. It served its cause for quite some time, but I hear cracks in the facade. You are starting to realize that maybe there are again, like certain beliefs that are just like part of your family system, and you're starting to question those. And that hurts, right? Like this anchor in the palm of the hand, that hurts. It feels uncomfortable. Okay, can we get a little more with that, please? So, wait, okay. Yeah, like I said, it's uncomfortable and it's bringing about like a so-called tower moment. Also here with the Three of Vessels, which is the Three of Cups in this deck. So that is very much about community. And so it seems like I said, it's crumbling. There's something coming down. And, you know, the Hanged One in this deck, yeah, it's the Hanged Man. Usually in this phase, like I said, it's very uncomfortable and it's a holding period. But it's happening for our benefit. It's happening so that we can learn to see a higher truth. A truth that goes beyond what we've known so far. And it requires a lot of surrender. A lot of surrender. With the Tower here, and the Hanged One in reverse, it's indicating to me that you're having a bit of a hard time with the surrendering part. And usually, like, when we are asked to surrender and we don't, but it would be necessary for us to like move on from whatever it is we are supposed to surrender to. The universe brings in tower moments, and depending on how much we are in resistance, they get they can get quite uncomfortable again. Yeah, maybe there are conflicts arising, things you just cannot overlook anymore. Or there might be external influences that cause frictions, that cause, like I said, conflict to arise. Okay, here's something about uprooting. Something gets uprooted. Things come to light. Things that like force you to, like you can't look away anymore. Yeah, and like I said, it's very, very community related. Yeah, and we also have the 5 of coins with the crown of coins beneath it. And I felt like that's significant because they came out this way. At first I didn't see that are 2 cards. Okay, so you're starting to uncover that you're wondering, like, why can I not manifest the things that I want for myself in this life? Like, very material things. Things that make you feel fulfilled. And that actually means something to you. But you're realizing that it's blocked. And it has to do with this 5 of coins. It has to do with this card of, I always say it's a card of scarcity, very much of like lack. It's about the thought of, or the belief, there's not enough. There is not enough, or I am not enough. Usually they coexist. So, like maybe you're working on, or you're trying to work on creating abundance in your life. And maybe this is also related to like the mindset or the beliefs we talked about that come from your family, where you're realizing that like there is a resistance towards abundance in your family. And that those are related to certain belief patterns that are present there. So, and you are wondering, like, okay, I get something about like you tried manifestation, you tried affirmations, like you tried it all. And you're wondering, why doesn't it work for me? Why can I not create this abundance? Why can't I manifest the things that I want to manifest? And they want to show you that it's like, yeah, there is some kind of resistance there. It's true, like there is a block. But you can't overcome this problem by like doing more of the same, but you have to look at the root cause. You have to find out what is the belief pattern beneath all that. And it's being emphasized that it's something that is going back to childhood, something that you took on from when you were a little child. And it has to do with scarcity mindset and belief patterns around there's never enough. All right. Moving on to, so just to say, I don't know if you want to watch like the rest of like the other 2 cards. I feel like it might be beneficial for you, but of course, if like trust your intuition if you don't feel like it. I will put timestamps in this video. I didn't plan on doing like a pick and choose a card kind of reading. It just came through that way. I'm not sure if like at the end of this, maybe we'll get some general advice. I feel like we will. So you can just like check the timestamps and see if there's like a last part in the video at the end of it if you don't want to watch these two. All right. Let's move on to the second card. The Sun in reverse. The Sun in reverse. Okay, wow. That took a weird turn immediately. I got something about UFOs and like this, that if you turn it this way, that this is like a UFO and it's like beaming light down on Earth. And I just heard, was I abducted by aliens when I was young? Or like, am I just an alien? So there's this feeling of being alienated from your environment, like just being so different. And that this is something where happiness just seems to be like, oh, you feel like it, like it's just not in the cards for me. Okay, and you're wondering like, why can I not be happy with the things that everyone else seems to be perfectly fine with? Like leading, I don't know, I get something about just like, you know, the typical biography of getting married, having kids, buying a home, having a good enough job, going on vacations, having a dog, you know, like the stereotypical life, what is kind of what we are taught from when we are young, that this is how you create happiness, and that this is something that is part of like a happy, fulfilled life. And you feel like, nope, this all feels just wrong to me. And you are wondering like, why can I not be like everyone else? Like what is wrong? What is wrong with me? So again, at the bottom of the deck is Three of Swords in reversed, and also Judgment. So this is what is hidden, what you cannot see. And with the Judgment card, that usually means that something is about to come to light. Something is to come into the sun, like into the light, and will be like it will become conscious. You will understand what is going on. The thing is with so first of all, this is usually a very, very deep process, takes time, and it usually hits us completely unprepared. When the Judgment card comes up, that's stuff that we did not see coming. I don't want to scare you or anything. It's like the experience I've had with Judgment is, holy shit, oh, that's what's going on. Finally, I understand. It can feel a bit uncomfortable when we start to wake up to whatever truth it is that wants to come up. But usually when it does, it is something that is, it makes total sense. When it comes up and we look at it, it's sudden, like everything makes sense all of a sudden. And we also understand that it could not be revealed to us any sooner, because we first had to go through a certain process. And wow, okay, so I'm getting that this is actually a progression. Like that those are three different phases the collective is in right now. So the Judgment usually comes after the Tower. So if we if we do this like the right way, and we have actually like if we actually surrender to what the tower is there to show us and to clean up in our lives, the judgment comes. Judgment day comes, and we suddenly understand what all of this was about. And if you're open to it, there's like this deeper truth and deeper knowledge, wisdom coming to us. The Three of Swords is indicating that there's some kind of hurt that is a bit hard for you to dive into. It's... Oh, am I going to sneeze? No. Okay. Oh, okay. So there's like sometimes you get sensations and then you're like, am I able to catch it? Am I able to look into it? But then it just goes away. And it won't, and you're wondering like, will it ever come back? Will I ever be able to catch this feeling, thought, whatever it is? And or maybe you're not wondering it. Okay, I get a sense of relief. Good that it's gone again. But your guides want to like make you aware of the fact that it's actually important that you look at it, because only because it goes away again, it doesn't mean that it's gone. It only means that it came up for a split second and then just like disappeared back into wherever it came from, but it's not gone. It's simply it went back into the subconscious. And the thing is, with the things that are active in our subconscious, they influence us nonetheless. Until they are made conscious, until they are brought into the sunlight, the sun as like consciousness itself, until they are brought into the sun and being made conscious, they act and influence us from a subconscious state, and we just do things or we experience things and we don't understand why they keep happening to us. So those thoughts and feelings that sometimes come up, and you might be feeling a sense of relief when they are gone again, or they don't stay, supposedly don't stay. You're actually asked to look there because they are important. They cannot be left unattended. Okay, so they're really stressing that it's crucial that they are not left unattended, or they will continue sabotaging your life. Okay, so there's so many reversals in here. It really feels like there is a whole lot of resistance to that process. So we have the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Okay, I get something about like you may be trying to push through, to simply try. I get something about like smoke them out of here. So you want to win. You want to win against your feelings, or you want to win against yourself at all costs. But it's important to understand that this is not a competition or a battle against yourself. this is not something that is, you cannot win at this. It's like one of those games where like you have to work together in order to win. It's not a competition against each other, but it's actually like you're trying to win the game, and you need to work with. It's a teamwork thing. So don't try to compete with yourself or work against yourself, but try to work with you. Okay, so this is bringing me back to those thoughts and feelings that you might see as your like something that needs to be fought against. It's not. It's always something that simply wants to tell you something. Every thought, every feeling, every emotion that you get is information. It's not less and not more. It's simply information. It's there to point you, to lead you to to lead you to the core. The heart of the problem. So, sorry. Yeah, they're saying it's kind of like as if you were a detective trying to solve a crime, but every clue that you're presented with, you just try to get rid of. So you just throw every clue away. You burn it. You try to smoke it out. And so the universe is just like keeping on giving you clues, and you're just throwing them all out. So yeah, there's this thing of like, take the goddamn clues. Just take them. Yeah, I know it's not always that easy. But yeah, it really can help to reframe our, like, how we view emotions and thoughts and all of that. It's like I said, if you manage to step away like a little bit and just look at them as a piece of information that is trying to give you hints on where to look, then you can actually work with those things that might be challenging in a more conscious way, for one, and also in a way that is for me, it always helps to keep the distance, to especially when emotions or thoughts are like overwhelming or really intrusive. I find it very, very helpful to look at them as objectively as possible, to have like a sense of curiosity towards them, and just like try to look at it as if it wasn't even mine, or maybe just like an object that I'm holding in front of me. Not to say that you should like not take it as your own, because obviously it is your own emotion, but it can help to get a bit of a distance between you and that emotion, simply to to learn. Because, I mean, the reason why we don't want to look at emotions or thoughts or feelings is because we're afraid of them. We fear that they might be too overwhelming or too intrusive or whatever. And so we just try to shut them down. But if we look at them as something that is to be observed and something that is to be taken into consideration, and it's like I said, simply a piece of information that is valuable information for us for the case that we are trying to solve, which is, why am I struggling with XYZ? So yeah, it can help to get that kind of view. Yeah. All right, moving on to number 3, card number 3. And another reversal. All right. If you jumped here, if you saw the timestamps and immediately jumped here, I figured out during this reading that it's like a progression. So we started with the tower. We started with a moment of like suspension where things are crumbling. Then we have judgment moments, meaning that things are coming to light and into our conscious, that suddenly explain things and they make sense to us. So this is like, if you picked this card, number 3, then it means that you are like in the 3rd phase of this progression. And with the Apprentice of Wands, it's the beginning of a new journey, but you're not quite there yet. I don't feel that much of resistance anymore. With these two, I felt quite a lot of resistance. This one feels more like hold there for a moment. So the interesting thing about the Apprentice of Wands, and it's the Page of Wands in this deck. The interesting thing with the Page of Wands is that up until that point, the Wands suit, like Ace to 10, is very much about like how the internal fire, how like our motivations are driving us. And they are very, I want to say primal to some extent. Very often they are very, very unconscious. That changes with the Apprentice of Wands. If you look at it in the traditional tarot, the Page of Wands is actually looking at his wand. He is aware of the wand that he is holding. So it seems like you've arrived in like the part of your journey where you are understanding that all those subconscious influences that are present in you are actually driving your life until you master the art of making the unconscious conscious. And this is bringing this quote by Carl Jung to mind. I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's something like, that the people let like the subconscious drive their life, and then they call it fate or something like that. It's not going like that. You get the gist of it. So many things we call fate that are actually just like repeated patterns that we adopted through our environments, through our caretakers, our families, our biography, our roots, the DNA that we have. We all adopted this stuff. And it's driving our life until we realize that there's actually such a thing as consciousness, and that we can make things conscious, and we can bring things into the light, and we can actually master our lives. We can make conscious choices in our lives that help us create and build the life that we actually find fulfilling. So we had that with the first card. Was it? Yeah, it was the first card. There was the question, like, why can I not manifest the life that I want? Well, because you are still driven by the subconscious. But by going through the process that you are going through, or have gone through, and you keep doing that, because it's a continuous cycle. Like when we're here, we start from here again. That's just how life is. It's a constant cycle. Hate to break it to you, but it never ends. It never ends. It just gets more, on the one hand, it gets more fun, but on the other hand, it also gets a bit more complicated and sophisticated. Because, believe it or not, the ego is growing with you, and it's getting better at hiding stuff from you. Yeah, but it's becoming more and more a conscious process, and so the apprentice of Wands is still in the learning phase. He's not the king, he's not the queen, he is still the apprentice. He's still the one who has to learn a lot, but he is at the same time part of the court cards, which means he's not in the Wand suit, where everything happens quite subconsciously, unconsciously, but he is in the learning phase. He's apprentice now. Okay, so I got a lot from that card already. Ooh, that is a bit much, I think. Okay, so yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, that is what I just talked about. This thing of like, it's the repeated cycles, and it's really like there's not really a reversal for the Wheel of Fortunes. At least how I never really felt like there was one. It's a wheel after all. And with those dices, it's like, yeah, there's this question about fate. Can we change our fate? Is there such a thing as fate? And I mean, that's a loaded question, and it's a very complex question. And we would have to discuss very advanced topics like, is there a free will? Is there such a thing as destiny or fate? Like you said, what is that even? What does it mean? What do we understand when we talk about fate? But I would say that we actually can come into the place of being the conscious creator of our lives. And in that regard, I do believe that we can actually create our own fate, and something that feels fated, because it is part of this like constant movement of what some people call also like the wheel of samsara. It is possible. It is possible to break out of those cycles, and actually many souls are like, the souls are constantly working on that. It's not in every lifetime that you break the cycle, but it can be part of like a bigger work in progress, that over many lifetimes you're working on breaking a cycle. And I know that actually many of the people who are connected to me in my readings many of them are in the process of breaking major cycles, generational cycles. And so I would say, yes, it is possible to change fate. It is possible to break out of those constant, repeated cycles that hold whole generations and families hostage. And yeah, so it feels like that for those of you who like resonate with that reading, it feels like you are actually at the beginning of like really breaking those familial cycles, those, you could even call it curses, because sometimes it feels like that. It feels like a curse. Can be very sticky stuff. Breaking those cycles can be very, very sticky stuff. It feels like it just never, like you think you got rid of it and then, oh, there it is again. All right. A whole lot of, we have the World card. It feels like that's the confirmation to what I just said. The World is just, again, like breaking out of major cycles. What's very interesting, I'm just looking through those cards here right now, and I'm choosing consciously which one I want to pick. So that is a message in and of itself. You are working towards a life where you can pick and choose. And this just fits in perfectly with the fact that the guides chose to bring this whole message about in a pick and choose reading. It really is about like, you can pick your destiny. Again, all reversals. Look at that, all reversals. This is now really speaking to me again about closing out cycles and turning everything on its head that you knew up until now. And this is also part of breaking out of those cycles. Like, we have to reprogram everything we thought we knew. The beliefs we had, the way we thought reality works, the way we were taught reality works. It's a major process, and it really turns everything on its head. So if you want to look into those cards a little deeper, and I feel like, this is more like, again, of like the overall energy. So sorry, this is a little chaotic. So if you came from one of the other cards and jumped here because of the timestamps, we came to the conclusion, and maybe you might want to go back and watch the other two cards as well, because it feels kind of beneficial. It is a bit of a chaotic energy, but that again ties in with like this wheel of samsara that we just talked about. So it's about closing out major cycles and familial patterns. And really choosing our own destiny, choosing our own path in life. Not just being, sorry. Oh, right, there was just a little distraction, a car driving by. There's something about choosing our own path. And this is really what you are basically growing into, evolving into. Not letting your subconscious drive your life, and not letting whatever kinds of beliefs that were present so far in your life dictate what your path looks like. But you get to decide what your path looks like. And the way of doing that is to break out of those old cycles, to really make conscious what was holding you hostage so far, and to consciously choose what you want your life to look like. And so, yeah, I do get like very, very strongly from a few guides that are emphasizing here that don't be tricked by the belief that you are held hostage by fate. And this is what the Hermit and the Devil is speaking to me about here. You're not forced into so the Hermit is speaking to me in a different way here. I get something about like the hermits, how we think about them in like historical figures that were like had that connection with God. They had some kind of awakening, and then they just went into the desert, or they just went into like sitting in a cave for 30 years and meditating there, and that was just their fate. That was just what they were meant to do. And wow, there's just a lot of noise happening right now. A lot of distractions. Okay, so there will be pushback. If you choose to decide that, if you choose to believe that you are not, that you can choose your own destiny, there will be a lot of pushback. This is part of it. That's just part of it. So, okay, what I just said about like the Hermit, those were people who, for one, like, yes, they chose their own life, but at the same time, they were chosen by, or at least that's what we are made believe, that they were chosen by God to live this life. This is like how Christian, for example, Christian ideology works. It's this idea of like, oh, they were chosen to do that, and then that was just their fate, and they had to live this life. They want to point out that there is a false belief beneath that, and it keeps people stuck. And I'm not gonna lie, right now, there's really something trying to prevent this message getting through. I'm getting like almost like I'm getting confused. There's like all this noise happening, interruptions happening. Something doesn't want that this message gets out, but we will get through this. All right. There is some kind of cord that needs to be cut. The idea that like it's fated, the idea that your life cannot be changed, And that started with those familial belief systems, those familial patterns that were driving your life until you made them conscious. And be aware that this continues into your journey, like your further journey, and that it can be, I said earlier, your ego gets more refined. Like the further you grow, the further the more stuff you make conscious, the more your ego gets conscious. And there really is also such a thing as a spiritual ego. And that is a really tricky one. That's really, really tricky to deal with. And we must be very, very cautious when it comes to our spiritual egos. And I do get something about the false belief of, well, I'm a chosen one. And I am meant to do something. I'm meant to walk a certain path. And there's there can be some truth to that, but it usually works different than what people think it is. So yeah, your soul has a plan coming into this life, and it will always try to fulfill that plan. But in most cases, there are so many more options that we can choose from than what we think there are. And it, like walking your path and fulfilling whatever your soul came here to do, it doesn't mean that you have to self-sacrifice. It never means that you have to self-sacrifice. I cannot stress this enough. And that actually can be a trap. This actually can be, and that brings me back to the thing, like, from Christian beliefs that goes back to Jesus himself and the idea that in order to fulfill his destiny, he had to die. He had to sacrifice himself. And that was his fate. And there are so many tales in Christian ideology. I don't know why it's coming through so strongly, but it's like really jumping out to me in that way at the moment. And I felt that before when I was talking about the judgment card. I almost said that it's not meant in the Christian belief when I said Judgment Day is here. But so I already got like this Christian connection earlier. But yeah, just to become conscious of the belief that when we live our paths and we live fate, that this ties in with self-sacrifice, and that does not have to be the case. It usually is not like that. Okay, I hear the guide saying it's never like that. You don't have to self-sacrifice in order to fulfill your quote-unquote destiny. So with these last two cards, and the Four of Coins that just got blown over, and I see another one lying here. Like there are a few cards that have been just like blowing around by the wind. So that, yeah, there's like this sense of randomness here. Cards just like flying all over. but the Ten of Swords is sticking out to me. So yeah, there is something about leaving those old thought patterns behind. And again, it's everything is in reverse here. Everything. And the Four of Coins. Healing of the body, I hear. So this really speaks to me about Jesus with this crown. Like INRI, that is written above the cross. Jesus from Nazareth. How do you pronounce that in English? King of the Jews. Again, something about the chosen ones. Yeah, there are those ideas in modern spirituality that have like this idea of, oh, I'm a healer, I'm a chosen one, I'm a light worker, all of that. And you know, there still, again, like there might be some truth in that. And I'm not saying that this is not part of the whole thing or part of the truth. But again, like you don't need to self-sacrifice for it. It's not like, oh, I'm a healer and that's my path and this is why I have to walk it. No, you choose to walk it if it feels aligned for you. You have the right to choose. This is, the Two of Swords. That's really about boundaries, about like internal and external boundaries. But really, again, like allowing ourselves to say, no, this is not what I want, or yes, this is what I want, but I'm choosing this. I am the one who decides. So, okay, it really seems like someone is working through those ideas about fate and destiny and am I actually allowed to live the life that makes me happy, or do I need to follow whatever path I was made believe or maybe came to believe is the right path? And it starts with family and like breaking out of family patterns. But the thing is, if we don't work through whatever it is that was active beneath all of that, and like we were believing in those family ideologies, and then we maybe went away from our family beliefs, but we went into another community and we just took on different beliefs, but beneath it, like the same thought patterns, the same emotional patterns are still active. And then you're just like living it out in a different way. And this is the reason why it's so important that you like look at like what's beneath all of that. Okay, so this got like even more advanced now in the end. So yeah, that was a really interesting reading. That was quite unexpected. But it feels huge. It feels huge. It feels like a big thing. And yeah, depending on like where you are in that time frame, on that timeline, it's yeah. I don't know. I'm a bit speechless, to be honest. I didn't expect this to come through in that way. And I feel like I ended it a bit like abrupt now, or like it's a bit maybe unclear. But that's the thing, you know, like the stuff I'm talking about, especially in the end here, the stuff I've been talking about, if you're at the beginning of that process, all of this will not make a whole lot of sense to you, probably. And those are things that you need to uncover for yourself. There are things that you cannot really, like, you can't really be taught those things, but like you really have to come to those insights yourself. And that is also what the Hermit card is about. It is to find your own beliefs. It is to like be in this. That is why those suspension periods are happening, because they are forcing us to go inside and to find what's there, because the wisdom is inside of you, the knowledge is inside of you. Yes, you can be guided there. People can point you to where to look at. I can give you hints and clues, but you have to find the truth for yourself. And this is like the more, like the further along you come, especially on a spiritual path, there is just knowledge and wisdom that cannot really be taught. It has to be found out by yourself. And that is part of the spiritual path. That is part of coming into spiritual sovereignty. And I think it was, that was on my other channel. By the way, if you're interested, check the link out in the description. But I've been talking about coming into spiritual sovereignty there. And I feel like the collective is actually trying to do that. They're trying to come into spiritual sovereignty and really be their own, I always say, like, be your own guru. And that means that you have to look and search for like the spiritual truth, the inner truth for yourself. All right, my loves. I'm going to leave it at that. That was an amazing reading, a very, very unexpected reading. I did not see that coming. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. As always, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, or leave me a like. That would help me out a lot. And I would love to see you in the next reading. Until then, take care, my loves, and goodbye.